Veliris stood at the observation window of the transport ship and watched the planet below. New Haven, the humans called it. A stupid name, Veliris thought. The planet looked green and blue, covered in water and forests. Peaceful. Weak. The Kryn Empire had sent Veliris here for one reason. Watch the humans. Study them. Report back if they were dangerous. After 3 months of watching, Veliris already knew the answer. The humans were not dangerous at all. Veliris had seen many species in 200 years of life. The Kryn ruled over 40 different species across the galaxy. Some species fought back when the Kryn came. Those species learned pain. Other species bowed their heads and accepted Kryn rule. Those species survived. The humans seemed like the second type. The transport ship landed at the main colony city. Veliris stepped out into warm sunlight. Human children ran past, laughing. A human woman sold fruit at a small stand. 2 human men carried boxes into a building. Everything looked so normal, so harmless. "Welcome to New Haven," a voice said. Veliris turned. A human man stood there, smiling. He was young by human standards, maybe 30 cycles old. He wore simple clothes. Nothing military. His hair was black and neat. His eyes were dark and friendly. "I am Junho," the human said. "I run the colony administration here. We are happy to have a Kryn observer visit us." Veliris studied Junho carefully. The human stood relaxed, hands at his sides. No weapons, no armor, no signs of aggression at all. Just a simple colony administrator. "I am Veliris." Veliris said, "I will be watching your colony for the next month. The Galactic Council wants to know how humans are adapting to civilized space." Junho's smile did not change. "Of course. We want to be good members of the galactic community. Please, let me show you around." For the next 3 weeks, Veliris watched everything. Junho took Veliris to farms, where humans grew food. They visited factories, where humans made tools and machines. They walked through schools where human children learned math and history. Everything seemed so peaceful. Veliris met another human named Minho. He was the military liaison for the colony. Veliris expected someone dangerous, someone aggressive. Instead, Minho was calm and polite. He showed Veliris the small security force that protected the colony. "We have 200 security officers," Minho explained. "They mostly handle disputes and help with emergencies. We do not have much crime here." Veliris looked at the security officers. They carried basic energy weapons, nothing powerful. Their armor was light, meant for patrol work, not war. Veliris counted their vehicles. 20 small transports, no warships, no heavy weapons, no orbital defenses. "You have no real military?" Veliris asked. Minho shook his head. "We are farmers and builders, not soldiers. The Kryn Empire protects us. Why would we need weapons?" Veliris felt satisfied. The humans knew their place. They accepted Kryn protection. They did not try to build weapons or challenge authority. Perfect subjects. During the 4th week, Veliris attended a human gathering. They called it a festival. Hundreds of humans came together in the central plaza. They ate food, played music, and danced. Junho was there with his family, a wife and 2 small children. They looked happy. "My daughter loves these festivals," Junho told Veliris. "She is only 5 cycles old, but she already wants to be a musician." Veliris watched the little human girl. She laughed and spun in circles, completely unaware of the galaxy beyond her small world. Weak, Veliris thought. These humans are soft. They care only for simple pleasures. They will never be a threat. On the final day of observation, Veliris prepared the report. Veliris sat in the small office Junho had provided and wrote carefully. Species: human. Planet: New Haven. Population: 400,000. Assessment: Low threat level. Humans show no military ambition. They possess basic technology, but no advanced weapons systems. Social structure is peaceful and cooperative. Recommendation: continue current exploitation of human industrial capacity. Increase tribute demands by 15%. Humans will comply. Veliris read the report 3 times. Everything was accurate. Everything was clear. The humans were exactly what they appeared to be. Simple, peaceful, harmless. That evening, Junho invited Veliris to dinner. They sat in Junho's home, a small house near the colony center. Junho's wife, Unji, served food. The children played in another room. Everything felt warm and domestic. "What will you tell the council about us?" Junho asked. Veliris saw no reason to lie. "I will tell them you are good subjects. You follow the rules. You cause no problems. The Kryn Empire is pleased with your colony." Junho smiled, but something flickered in his eyes. Something Veliris could not read. It vanished quickly. "We try our best," Junho said quietly. "We only want to live in peace." The next morning, Veliris boarded the transport ship. Minho came to say goodbye. He shook Veliris's hand. "A human custom. Safe travels," Minho said. "I hope your report is favorable." "It is," Veliris assured him. "Your people have nothing to fear from the council." Minho's expression did not change, but his grip on Veliris's hand tightened slightly, just for a moment. Then, he released it and stepped back. As the transport ship lifted off, Veliris watched New Haven shrink below. The green planet looked so peaceful in the black of space. Veliris felt confident in the report. The humans were no threat. They never would be. 2 weeks later, Veliris sat in quarters aboard a Kryn station. A message came through official channels. The Kryn fleet was moving toward New Haven. "A routine visit," the message said. The humans owed tribute, food, metals, and 5,000 colonists for labor in the Kryn mining worlds. Veliris felt nothing about this. It was normal. All subject species paid tribute. The humans would pay like everyone else. They would bow their heads and accept it. They always did. But something bothered Veliris. That look in Junho's eyes at dinner. That extra pressure in Minho's handshake. Were those signs of something? Or just Veliris's imagination? Veliris dismissed the thoughts. Humans were weak. The report proved it. They had no weapons, no military, no ability to resist. The Kryn fleet would arrive at New Haven, take what was owed, and leave. Simple. Easy. Like it always was. Veliris transmitted the report to the fleet commander. Every detail about New Haven. Every weakness. Every vulnerability. The commander would be pleased. Another easy collection. Another peaceful tribute. Veliris went to sleep that night feeling satisfied. A job completed well. An accurate assessment delivered. The galaxy continued as it always had. The Kryn ruled. The lesser species obeyed. Veliris had no idea that everything was about to change. No idea that the report just sent would become the biggest mistake of Veliris's long life. No idea that those peaceful humans on their green planet were about to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. The Kryn fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading toward New Haven. 8 warships. 500 crew members. Weapons enough to destroy a planet. They thought they were going to collect tribute. They had no idea they were flying toward something else entirely. Something that would break the Kryn Empire forever. On New Haven, Junho stood in his home and looked at his sleeping children. He touched his daughter's hair gently. Then he walked outside and looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, warships were coming. He had known they would come. They always did. Junho pulled out a small communication device. He pressed a button and spoke 3 words. Execute Protocol 7. All across New Haven, humans stopped what they were doing. They received the message. They knew what it meant. And they began to move. The Kryn fleet arrived at New Haven 3 days after Veliris left. Veliris was still on the station when the news came. The fleet commander had sent an official transmission to the colony. Simple demands: 40% of stored food, 30,000 tons of refined metals, 5,000 colonists for labor assignments. Standard tribute. Veliris expected immediate compliance. That was how it always worked. But this time, something was different. The human response came within an hour. Not from some minor official. From Junho himself, the colony administrator Veliris had met. The transmission played across all Kryn channels. "We refuse your demands," Junho said calmly. His face on the screen showed no fear. "New Haven will not give you our food, our materials, or our people. We ask that you leave our space peacefully." Veliris stared at the screen in shock. Refuse? Humans did not refuse. No one refused the Kryn Empire. It was suicide. The fleet commander, a Kryn named Vortek, laughed when he heard the message. Veliris was on the bridge of the command ship, sent there to help with negotiations. But there would be no negotiations now. "These humans are fools," Vortek said. He turned to his weapons officer. "Fire on the colony. Destroy their main city. Show them what happens when lesser species forget their place." Veliris wanted to object, but the words caught in the throat. This was normal. This was how the Kryn maintained order. Fear, pain, death. It worked on every species. The fleet weapons charged. 8 ships turned their guns toward the planet. Veliris saw New Haven on the view screen, green and peaceful. Saw the colony city, where 400,000 humans lived, where Junho's children played and laughed. The weapons fired. Light streaked down from space. Energy beams designed to break mountains and boil oceans. They hit New Haven City in waves. The first strike destroyed the northern section. The second erased the center. The third obliterated everything else. 200,000 humans died in 4 minutes. Veliris watched the planet burn. Smoke rose from the impact sites. Fires spread across hundreds of kilometers. The city was gone. Just gone. Like it had never existed. "That should teach them," Vortek said, satisfied. "Now they will comply." But Veliris felt something strange. Not satisfaction. Something else. Something cold and heavy in the chest. Veliris had watched the Kryn destroy cities before. It was necessary. It maintained order. But seeing Junho's face on that transmission, remembering his children, it felt different, somehow. 3 hours later, a shuttle came from the planet. It requested permission to dock. Vortek granted it, expecting surrender. The shuttle carried 20 humans. Minho led them. The same calm military liaison Veliris had met. But something was different about him now. His eyes were harder, colder. "We need to evacuate survivors," Minho said. "Your attack killed 200,000 people. We have wounded. Children without parents. We request humanitarian assistance." Vortek laughed again. "You refused tribute. This is the consequence. No assistance will be provided. Now, will you comply with our demands?" Minho looked at Vortek for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "We need time to gather the supplies and to identify colonists for your labor assignments. Give us 3 days." Vortek agreed. 3 days. The fleet would wait in orbit and watch. Make sure the humans complied this time. The shuttle left. Veliris watched it return to the planet. Something felt wrong. Minho had seemed too calm, too controlled. A human who just lost 200,000 people should be crying, begging. Minho did neither. Veliris requested permission to return to the planet, to help ensure compliance. Vortek agreed and sent Veliris down with 2 Kryn soldiers as escort. The shuttle landed far from the destroyed city. At a small settlement in the mountains, Veliris stepped out and saw hundreds of humans working quickly, moving supplies, operating equipment. They moved with purpose and organization. Not like frightened subjects. Like something else. Minho met Veliris at the landing pad. Thank you for coming. We need all the help we can get. Veliris followed Minho into a large underground facility. The entrance was hidden under a barn. Inside, the facility stretched deep into the mountain. Veliris saw computer systems, medical equipment, sleeping quarters for thousands of people. What is this place? Veliris asked. Emergency shelter, Minho said simply. We built it when we first arrived. Just in case. Just in case. The words echoed in Veliris's mind. The humans had prepared for attack. They had built shelters and hidden them. That was not the behavior of peaceful farmers. Minho led Veliris to a command center. Screens covered the walls. Humans worked at dozens of stations. Veliris saw star charts, ship movements, communication logs. This was not a simple shelter. This was a military command post. A human woman turned from one of the screens. She was young, maybe 25 cycles old. Veliris recognized her. The farmer, who had sold fruit in the market. But she was not dressed like a farmer now. She wore a military uniform. Observer Veliris, the woman said. I am Hiren, intelligence officer for New Haven Colony. Intelligence officer. Not a farmer. Veliris felt the cold feeling grow stronger. You lied. You all lied. You told me you had no military. Hiren smiled, but it was not friendly. We told you what you wanted to hear. You expected peaceful farmers. So we showed you peaceful farmers. Veliris looked around the command center again. Since the day we arrived, Minho said, we knew the Kryn would come eventually. You always do. You find peaceful people, and take what you want. Kill who you want. We decided that would not happen to us. Veliris's escort soldiers moved closer, hands on weapons. But dozens of humans surrounded them now. All armed. All watching. The soldiers stopped moving. The message is sent, Hiren said, looking at one of the screens. Earth received it 10 minutes ago. They are moving now. Earth? Veliris asked. Your homeworld? They are too far away. It would take months for ships to arrive. Hiren's smile grew. You really do not understand us at all. Earth is not far away. Not anymore. One of the screens changed, showed space near New Haven. Empty space. Then it was not empty. Ships appeared, dozens of them, then hundreds. They jumped out of hyperspace, in perfect formation. Veliris stared. Human ships. Warships. Big ones. They were not cargo vessels or transports. These were military ships. Armed, and armored, and ready for battle. How? Veliris whispered. We monitored your system. We saw no military buildup. No weapons production. You saw what we wanted you to see, Minho said. New Haven is one colony. We have 40 others. You never checked them. You thought we were too primitive to hide things from you. Junho appeared on one of the screens. Alive. Veliris felt shock run through the body. Junho had been in the city. He should be dead. I evacuated my family 2 hours before your fleet arrived, Junho said calmly. We all knew you were coming. Veliris's report told us exactly when. Thank you for that. Observer. Veliris felt sick. The report. The detailed report about New Haven's defenses. About their vulnerabilities. Veliris had given the Kryn fleet everything they needed to attack. But Veliris had also given the humans everything they needed to prepare. You used me. Veliris said quietly. Yes, Junho said. We needed the Kryn to attack first. We needed the galaxy to see what you are. What you do to peaceful people. Now, they will see. Now everyone will see. The screen changed again. Showed the Kryn fleet in orbit. Showed human warships moving toward them. 200 human ships against 8 Kryn vessels. But the Kryn ships were bigger, stronger, more powerful. Your ships will lose, Veliris said. Kryn warships are the best in the galaxy. Were, Hiren corrected. They were the best. Before we studied them, before we learned how to beat them, the battle began. Veliris watched on the screen. Expected to see human ships destroyed quickly. Expected Kryn's superiority to show itself. It did not happen that way. The human ships moved fast. Faster than Kryn vessels. They swarmed the Kryn fleet like insects. Their weapons hit hard, targeting specific points. Engines, power cores, weapon systems. They knew exactly where to hit. One Kryn ship exploded, then another. Vortex command ship tried to fight back, but human ships surrounded it. They tore it apart, piece by piece. 6 minutes. That was how long the battle lasted. 8 Kryn warships. 500 trained Kryn warriors. Destroyed in 6 minutes. Veliris watched Vortex command ship break apart. Saw escape pods launching. Saw human ships capturing them. Every single one. You killed them all, Veliris said. No, Minho corrected. We killed their ships. We captured the crews. We are not monsters. We do not kill unnecessarily. Veliris looked at Minho, at Hiren, at Junho on the screen. You killed 200,000 of your own people to draw us here. You let your city burn. Junho's expression did not change. No one died in that city. We evacuated everyone the day before. What your fleet destroyed was buildings. Empty buildings. We made it look occupied. We had to. You needed to think you had won. Think you had hurt us. Why? Veliris asked. Why do all this? Because you needed to throw the first punch, Hiren said. The galaxy needed to see the Kryn attack an unarmed colony. Needed to see your cruelty. Now they have. And now we respond. Junho leaned forward on the screen. His friendly smile was gone. You came to my home. Threatened my children. Tried to take my people. The Kryn Empire has done this for 8,000 years. To 40 species. 2 billions of people. It ends now. End quote. To 40 species. End quote. To 40 species. 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 One battle does not end an empire, Veliris said. Junho's eyes went cold. Colder than Veliris had ever seen on any living thing. This was not a battle. This was a message. Now comes the war. Veliris became a prisoner that day. Not in chains, not in a cell, but a prisoner nonetheless. The humans kept Veliris aboard one of their warships, a vessel called the Righteous Fury. The name itself should have been a warning. The ship's commander was an admiral named Taiyang. He was older than most humans Veliris had met, maybe 50 cycles. Gray touched his black hair. Lines marked his face. Automatie, common way, but his eyes burned with something fierce and terrible. You are not a prisoner of war, Taiyang told Veliris on the first day. You are a witness. You will watch what happens next. You will see what the Kryn Empire created when it attacked our people. And, when this is over, you will tell everyone what you saw. Veliris did not understand then. Did not understand what Taiyang meant. But Veliris would learn. Day by terrible day. The human fleet divided into groups. 20 ships here, 30 ships there. They spread across Kryn space like a virus. Fast, deadly, unstoppable. Their first target was a fuel depot. A massive station called XL Prime. It supplied energy to 100 Kryn worlds. The station had defenses, shields, weapons, a garrison of 3,000 Kryn soldiers. Veliris watched from the bridge of the Righteous Fury. Expected a long battle. Expected the humans to try to capture the station. That was what civilized species did. They captured resources. Used them. The humans did not try to capture anything. 30 human ships approached XL Prime. The station's commander hailed them, demanded surrender. The humans did not respond. They simply opened fire. But they did not fire normal weapons. They fired something else. Something that burned hotter than stars. The missiles hit Zell Prime's shields and punched through like they were not there. Hit the station's core. The entire structure exploded in a blast of white light. 3,000 Kryn died in seconds. The fuel depot, worth more than some planets, just gone. Destroyed completely. Veliris turned to Taeyang in shock. Why? You could have captured that station. Used its resources. Taeyang did not look away from the view screen. We do not want your resources. We do not want your territory. We want you to understand what you did to us. But there were civilians on that station. Veliris said. Workers. Engineers. People who had nothing to do with attacking New Haven. Now Taeyang turned. His eyes locked onto Veliris. Like the civilians you killed on New Haven? Oh, wait. We evacuated ours. You did not care about that. You just fired. Veliris had no response. The truth sat heavy and cold. The Kryn had fired without warning. Without checking. They had wanted to kill. To terrorize. Now the humans were doing the same. The second target was a forge world. Caldris. 10 billion Kryn lived there. The planet produced ships, weapons, armor. It was one of the most important industrial worlds in the Empire. The human fleet arrived in orbit. This time, they sent a message first. A warning. Evacuate all civilians. You have 6 hours. The Kryn planetary governor refused. Thought it was a bluff. Thought the humans would not really attack a planet with so many people. He was wrong. 6 hours passed. Human ships moved into position. They did not target cities. They targeted the factories, the forges, the industrial complexes. But their weapons were so powerful, so destructive, that it did not matter. The bombardment turned half the planet's surface into molten glass. 30 billion tons of metal and machinery melted into slag. 8 billion Kryn died because their governor did not believe the human warning. Veliris watched it happen. Watched a planet burn. Watched a species that had ruled the galaxy for 8,000 years get torn apart like paper. Stop this. Veliris begged Taeyang. Please. You have made your point. The Kryn know you are strong now. They will negotiate. Taeyang's expression did not change. They had chances to negotiate. Before they came to New Haven, when Junho offered peace, when we asked them to leave, they chose violence. Now they live with that choice. On the bridge, other humans worked at their stations. A woman named Hyarin sat at the intelligence console. She was the same woman from New Haven, the one who had pretended to be a farmer. Admiral, Hyarin said. The Kryn Grand Fleet is mobilizing. 800 warships. They are moving to intercept us. 800 ships, the full might of the Kryn military. Veliris felt hope for the first time in days. The humans only had 200 ships. Even with their advanced weapons, they could not win against those numbers. Taeyang studied the tactical display. Good. We have been waiting for them to commit their forces. Signal all fleet groups. Rendezvous at Point Delta. We end this in one battle. Veliris stared. You cannot win. 800 ships against 200. It is suicide. A human man at the weapons console laughed. His name was Deho. You still do not understand us. We did not come here to win battles. We came to win the war. 3 days later, both fleets met in empty space between stars. Veliris stood on the bridge of the Righteous Fury and watched 800 Kryn warships take formation. They were beautiful, in a terrible way. Massive vessels built over centuries. Each one, a masterpiece of military engineering. The Kryn Grand Admiral sent a transmission. Human fleet, you are outnumbered 4-1. Surrender now, and we will grant mercy. Continue fighting, and we will destroy every human world in the galaxy. Taeyong's response was simple. Come and try. The Kryn fleet advanced. Their formation was perfect. Textbook military doctrine. Thousands of years of experience in every movement. They were confident. They had fought hundreds of battles, won thousands of wars, but they had never fought humans before. The human fleet did not meet them head-on. Instead, they scattered. Ships broke in every direction. The Kryn formation moved to surround them, thinking the humans were running. They were not running. They were setting a trap. Veliris saw it happen on the tactical display. Saw human ships suddenly stop and turn. Saw them launch thousands of small objects into space. Mines, drones, weapons that looked like debris. The Kryn fleet sailed right into them. Explosions rippled through the Kryn formation. Ships vanished in bursts of fire. Their shields failed. Their hulls cracked. Confusion spread through their ranks. Then the human ships attacked. They did not fight with honor. Did not meet the Kryn in organized combat. They swarmed. They ambushed. They used tactics that no civilized species would use. Veliris watched human ships ram Kryn vessels. Saw them sacrifice themselves to destroy bigger targets. Saw AI-controlled ships with no crew pilot straight into Kryn carriers. This is barbaric, Veliris whispered. Hyarin heard. She turned from her console. You are right. It is barbaric. War is barbaric. You brought it to us. Now you see what we learned from studying human history. Every war we ever fought. Every terrible thing we ever did to each other. We are very good at this. We just did not want to use it. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, 600 Kryn ships were destroyed. Only 200 escaped. The human fleet lost 30 ships. The Grand Admiral's flagship was crippled but intact. Taeyong ordered it captured. Human Marines boarded the vessel. They brought the Grand Admiral to the righteous fury. His name was Korvox. He had led Kryn fleets for 300 years. He had conquered species, destroyed rebellions. He was a legend in the Empire. Now he stood on the bridge of a human ship, defeated, his pride broken, his fleet destroyed. You fight without honor, Korvax said to Taeyong. You use cowardly tactics. You are animals. Taeyong walked up to the Kryn admiral, looked him in the eyes. You bombed a city full of what you thought were civilians. You were going to enslave 5,000 of our people. You have oppressed 40 species for 8,000 years. And you dare talk about honor? Korvax had no answer. Taeyong turned to his crew. Send the battle recordings to every planet in the galaxy. Let them all see. The Kryn Grand Fleet is broken. The Empire is vulnerable. Any species that wants freedom, take it now. Veliris understood then what the humans were really doing. They were not just fighting the Kryn. They were destroying everything the Empire was built on. Fear. The belief that the Kryn could not be beaten. The idea that resistance was hopeless. All of it. Shattered in 4 hours. A human communications officer named Jiwoo spoke up. Admiral, we are receiving surrender offers from 40 Kryn worlds. They are asking for terms. Over. Taeyong shook his head. No terms, no surrender. Not yet. Veliris felt cold horror. What do you mean? They want to surrender. The war can end. Taeyong looked at Veliris. For the first time, Veliris saw something in his eyes. Not anger. Something worse. Sadness. Grief. The look of someone who had lost everything and accepted what they had to become. The war ends when we say it ends, Taeyong said quietly. When the Kryn Empire is broken so completely that it can never threaten anyone again. When every species in the galaxy knows what happens when you attack peaceful people, we are not done. Not nearly done. Veliris looked around the bridge. At Hyarin, at Daeho, at Jiwoo, at all the humans working their stations. They did not look happy, did not look proud. They looked tired, sad, but determined. These were not warriors who loved battle. They were farmers and teachers and engineers who had been forced to become something else, something terrible. And they would not stop until the job was finished. Vel-Iris realized the truth then. The Kryn Empire was not fighting a war anymore. It was fighting extinction, and the humans would not stop until every Kryn world knew the fear that New Haven had felt. 3 months passed. Vel-Iris counted each day aboard the Righteous Fury, watched each battle, witnessed each destroyed world. The human fleet moved through Kryn space like death itself. 40 Kryn worlds fell, not conquered, destroyed. The humans did not occupy territory. They obliterated military installations, industrial centers, and government buildings. They left the Kryn people alive but broken, their infrastructure in ruins, their empire crumbling. Vel-Iris had stopped protesting after the first month, stopped begging them to show mercy. The humans did not listen. They had a mission, and nothing would stop them from completing it. General Minho came aboard the Righteous Fury in the 10th week. He had been leading ground operations on captured Kryn stations. When he arrived on the bridge, Vel-Iris barely recognized him. He had lost weight. His eyes looked older, harder. "Admiral," Minho said to Taeyang, "the Kryn are requesting negotiations again. This time the request comes from the High Council itself." Taeyang looked up from a tactical report. "Full surrender, reparations, territory. They will give us anything we want." Taeyang was quiet for a moment. Then he shook his head. "No." Vel-Iris could not stay silent. "Why?" "They are offering you everything. The war can end." Taeyang turned to face Vel-Iris. His expression was calm but cold. "Because they do not understand yet. They think this is about resources, about territory, about power. It is not. This is about making sure they never do this again. To anyone." "How many more must die before you are satisfied?" Vel-Iris asked. "I will never be satisfied," Taeyang said quietly. "Nothing will bring back the time we lost, the peace we wanted, the lives we changed. But I can make sure the Kryn never take those things from anyone else." A new human joined them on the bridge. She was young, maybe 30 cycles old. Her name was Sujin, and she was the fleet's chief engineer. She carried a data tablet and looked excited in a way that made Vel-Iris nervous. "Admiral," Sujin said, "the project is complete. We successfully tested it on an uninhabited system. It works exactly as designed." "The project?" Vel-Iris asked. Taeyang gestured for Sujin to explain. The engineer pulled up a holographic display. It showed a star. A normal yellow star, like billions of others in the galaxy. "We call it a stellar destabilizer," Sujin said. "It is a device that can make stars collapse prematurely, turn them into supernovas centuries before they naturally would. We can destroy entire solar systems with a single device." Vel-Iris felt ice in the veins. "That is planet killing. System killing. The Galactic Council banned such weapons 3,000 years ago." Sujin nodded. "Yes, they did. But the Council did not stop the Kryn from bombing our cities, did not stop them from threatening our people. Laws only work when everyone follows them. The Kryn taught us that." "You would not use such a weapon," Vel-Iris said, desperate to believe it. "You would not kill billions of innocent people." Taeyang spoke firmly. "We will not use it. But we need the Kryn to know we could. We need them to understand that humanity has the power to end their entire species if we choose. Fear is the only language they understand." Vel-Iris looked at these humans, these people who had seemed so peaceful just months ago. Now they built planet killers and spoke of genocide calmly. What had the Kryn created? Later that day, a shuttle arrived with a diplomat from Earth, a woman named Donby. She was older, elegant, and spoke with a soft voice that somehow made her more frightening than any soldier. She met with Veliris in a small meeting room, sat across from the Kryn observer, and smiled gently. "I understand you have been documenting everything," Donby said. "The battles, the destruction, all of it." Veliris nodded. "Yes. When this is over, the galaxy will know what humanity did." "Good," Danby said. "That is exactly what we want. We want every species to see, to understand." "Understand what?" "That humans are monsters?" Donby's smile faded. "No. That we are not to be pushed. The Kryn Empire has enslaved 40 species. For 8,000 years, they have taken what they wanted, killed who they wanted, and no one stopped them." Veliris knew the answer. "Because they were too strong." "Exactly," Danby said. "The galaxy accepted Kryn cruelty because fighting back seemed impossible. So species bowed their heads and suffered. We refuse to do that. We refuse to live in a galaxy where the strong can terrorize the weak without consequences." "So you become the terrorizers instead?" Danby leaned forward. "We are liberating the 40 species the Kryn enslaved. We are destroying military targets, not civilian populations. Yes, Kryn die. Yes, their worlds suffer. But we are not enslaving anyone, not taking tribute, not demanding submission. When this war ends, we will leave. The Kryn will rebuild. But they will never threaten peaceful people again." "You sound so certain," Veliris said. "Because I am," Donby replied. "I have studied the Kryn for 20 years. Studied every species they conquered, every war they fought. They only understand strength. So we show them strength, overwhelming, terrible strength. And then we step back and give them a choice. Change or face extinction." That evening, another transmission came. This time not from the Kryn High Council. From someone unexpected. Junho's face appeared on the main screen. He was back on New Haven. The colony had been rebuilt. Veliris could see new buildings behind him through a window. But Junho looked different. Older, tired. Like the war had aged him years in just months. "Observer Veliris," Junho said. "I want to show you something." The screen changed, showed a cemetery, hundreds of graves. No, thousands. They stretched across a hillside covered in white stones. "These are memorials," Junho explained. "Not for people who died. Our evacuation was successful. These are for lives that changed. For children who will grow up knowing war. For families that lived in fear. For the peace we lost." Junho's face returned to the screen. His eyes were hard but also sad. "I was a teacher, Veliris. I taught children about poetry and art and history. I loved my work. I loved my quiet life. The Kryn took that from me. From all of us. We can never get it back. I am sorry," Veliris whispered. Junho nodded slowly. "I know you are, but sorry does not give me my old life back. Sorry does not erase what we had to become. We did not want to be warriors. We wanted to be farmers and teachers and parents." The transmission ended. Veliris sat in silence, thinking about those words. About the choice the humans had made. About what they had lost, and what they had become. 2 weeks later, the human fleet reached the Kryn homeworld. Veliris stood on the bridge and watched the planet appear on the view screen. It was beautiful. Blue oceans, green continents, clouds swirling in complex patterns. 12 billion Kryn lived there, the heart of their empire, their oldest cities, their most sacred places. The human fleet surrounded it, 200 warships in perfect formation, weapons armed, ready to fire. The Kryn High Council sent a final transmission. The Supreme Elder himself appeared on the screen. He was ancient, over 500 cycles old. His skin was pale, his eyes tired. "Please," the elder said. "Do not do this. We surrender. Completely. Totally. We will disband our military. Pay any reparations. Accept any terms. Just do not destroy our homeworld." Taeyang listened to the entire plea. Then he spoke. "Your empire killed billions over 8,000 years. You enslaved species, took children from their parents for labor, destroyed worlds that resisted. And now, you beg for mercy." "Yes," the elder said. "We beg. What more do you want?" "I want you to remember this feeling," Taeyang said. "This fear, this helplessness. This is what every species you conquered felt. This is what you made them live with. Remember it. Never forget it." Veliris thought the humans would fire, thought they would destroy the planet. Every weapon was charged, every ship ready. But Taeyang gave a different order. "Power down weapons. Maintain blockade formation. See. End 4. The bridge crew looked surprised. Hierin spoke up. "Admiral, we made our point," Taeyang said. He looked tired suddenly, so very tired. "Signal the council. We accept their surrender. Under the following terms: complete military disarmament, reparations to every species they enslaved, and most importantly, they will remember what happened here. We'll teach their children about the humans they tried to destroy. We'll never forget the price of attacking peaceful people." The Supreme Elder agreed immediately, gratefully. The Kryn Empire surrendered completely. After 8,000 years of dominance, they were broken, not destroyed, not exterminated, but changed forever. Veliris felt something strange. Not happiness, not satisfaction, just a deep, heavy sadness. Everyone had lost something in this war. The Kryn lost their empire, the humans lost their peace, and the galaxy learned that even the strongest can fall. Admiral Taeyang turned to Veliris. "You are free to go. Take your recordings. Tell everyone what you saw. Make sure they understand what happened here. What will you do now?" Veliris asked. Taeyang looked at the Kryn homeworld on the screen. "Go home. Try to remember who we were before all this. Try to become those people again. If we still can. Number. 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 Number." 5 years passed after the war ended. Veliris spent that time traveling, visiting the worlds the Kryn had once ruled, watching them rebuild, recording everything. The Kryn Empire was a shadow of itself. Their military was gone, scrapped, or given to the newly free species as reparations. Their government was restructured under galactic oversight. Their people learned to live as equals, not masters. It was humbling, painful, but necessary. Veliris returned to the Kryn homeworld in the 5th year. The planet looked different, quieter, sadder. The grand monuments to military victories had been torn down. In their place stood memorials to the species the Kryn had hurt, to the people they had enslaved, to the lives they had destroyed. The Kryn people walked through their cities with heads down. No longer proud conquerors. Just another species trying to survive. Trying to atone for 8,000 years of cruelty. Veliris met with the new High Council. They were younger Kryn, elected by the people, instead of appointed by military strength. They spoke of peace now, of cooperation, of building a better future. But Veliris could see the fear in their eyes. The memory of human warships surrounding their homeworld. The knowledge that they had been seconds away from extinction. That fear would shape Kryn society for generations. From the Kryn homeworld, Veliris traveled to Earth, the human homeworld. Veliris had never been there before, had never seen where humanity came from. Earth was beautiful, blue and green like New Haven, but older, more developed. 12 billion humans lived there, going about their lives, working, laughing, raising children, like the war had never happened, but it had happened. Veliris could see the signs. Military ships patrolled the system. Defense stations orbited the planet. Humanity had learned its lesson. They would never be unprepared again. A human official met Veliris at the spaceport. Her name was Somin, and she was with the diplomatic corps. She was young, maybe 25 cycles old. Too young to have fought in the war. Part of the new generation. "Welcome to Earth," Somin said with a genuine smile. "We are honored to have you visit." She took Veliris to Geneva, where the reformed Galactic Council now met. The council had changed after the war. The Kryn no longer held a permanent seat. New rules were in place. No species could dominate others. No tribute demands. No forced labor. The 40 species the Kryn had enslaved now had their own seats. Their own voices. The galaxy was more equal than it had been in thousands of years. But that equality came with a price. Everyone knew what happened to the Kryn. Everyone knew what the humans could do if threatened. Peace existed now. But it was peace built on fear as much as justice. Veliris spoke at the council one day, testified about what had been witnessed. The battles, the destruction, the cold efficiency of human warfare. Some looked horrified. Others looked thoughtful. All looked careful. After the testimony, Ambassador Danby approached Veliris. She was older now, gray in her hair, but her eyes were still sharp. "Thank you for your honesty," Danby said. "Your testimony is being studied by every species in the galaxy. They need to understand what happened." "Danby, do you think it will prevent future wars?" Veliris asked. Danby sighed. "I hope so, but I am not naive. There will always be species that think they can take what they want, that think violence is the answer. We just need to make sure they remember what happened to the Kryn before they act." From Geneva, Veliris traveled to New Haven. The colony had been completely rebuilt. The city that was destroyed now stood again, bigger and more beautiful than before. But it was different. Harder. The buildings were reinforced. The defenses were visible. This was not a soft farming colony anymore. Junho still lived there. He had returned to teaching after the war, trying to reclaim his old life. Veliris found him at a school, working with children, the same children who had laughed and played during Veliris's first visit. But they were older now. They remembered the war. It had changed them too. "Observer Veliris," Junho said when they met. He looked older. Lines marked his face. Gray touched his hair, but he smiled. A real smile. "I wondered if you would come back." They walked through the rebuilt city together. Past the memorials, past the empty buildings kept as reminders of what was lost. Past the schools, and homes, and markets, where life continued. "How do you live with it?" Veliris asked. "With what you did." Junho was quiet for a long moment. "I think about that every day. About the Kryn who died. About the worlds we destroyed. About what we became." He stopped walking and looked at Veliris. "We did terrible things. Necessary things. But still terrible. We carry that weight. All of us. Do you regret it?" "I regret that it was necessary," Junho said carefully. "I regret that the Kryn forced us to choose between peace and survival. But no, I do not regret choosing survival. I do not regret protecting my children. My people." They reached a park where a large monument stood. It was made of black stone and covered in names. Thousands of names. "These are not people who died," Junho explained. "These are the names of every human who fought in the war, who became something they never wanted to be. We remember them. We honor them. But we also mourn what they lost. What we all lost." Veliris saw Junho's name on the monument. Saw Minho's name. Taeyang's. Hyarin's. Thousands of others. Each one representing a farmer or teacher or engineer who had to become a warrior. "Where are they now?" Veliris asked. "The others?" Junho pointed to different parts of the city. Minho runs the security force. He still protects us, but he hates it. Wishes he could do something else. He gestured to a building in the distance. Hyron teaches at the university. Intelligence work gave her nightmares. She wanted to do something peaceful. And Admiral Taeyang? Junho's expression grew sad. He lives alone. In the mountains. He comes to town sometimes. But mostly, he stays by himself. The war broke something in him. In all of us, really. But him, most of all. Veliris asked to visit Taeyang. Junho gave directions, but warned that the Admiral might not want visitors. Veliris traveled to the mountains. Found a small house near a lake. It was simple. Peaceful. Beautiful. Taeyang sat on the porch, looking at the water. He looked older than 5 years should make someone. His hair was completely gray. His face was lined and worn. But his eyes were calm. Quiet. Like he had finally found some peace. I wondered when you would come, Taeyang said without looking at Veliris. Sit, please. They sat in silence for a while. Just watching the water. Listening to birds. Feeling the wind. Do you hate us? Taeyang finally asked. The Kryn? Veliris thought carefully. No. I hate what you forced us to become. But I do not hate your people. They are just people. Like everyone else. Taeyang nodded slowly. I feel the same about the Kryn. I hated what they did. What they represented. But the individual Kryn who died. They were just following orders. Living in the system they were born into. Like I was. Like we all were. Can you forgive yourself? Veliris asked. No, Taeyang said simply. I killed too many, destroyed too much. Forgiveness is not something I can have. But I can live with what I did. Can understand why it was necessary. That has to be enough. They talked for hours. About the war. About peace. About the galaxy that now existed. Taeyang spoke of his hopes for the future. That humanity would never have to fight again. That the lesson learned would last. But he also spoke of his fears. That humans would forget. That new generations would see the military strength and want to use it. That the cycle would begin again. We built something terrible, Taeyang said. We became very good at destruction. Now we have to make sure we never use those skills again. That is the real challenge. Not winning the war. Winning the peace. As the sun set, Veliris prepared to leave. Taeyang stood and offered his hand. A human gesture of respect. Thank you, Taeyang said. For witnessing. For recording. For telling the truth. The galaxy needs to remember what happened here. All of it. The good and the bad. Veliris took his hand. I will. That is my purpose now. To make sure no one forgets. Veliris left New Haven and returned to Kryn space one last time. Went to the memorial where the names of dead Kryn were recorded. 200 million names. Each one representing a life lost. A family broken. A future erased. Veliris added one final entry to the chronicle. The document that would be stored in every galactic archive. That would be taught in every school. That would shape how species viewed each other for generations. The entry read, I was sent to observe humanity. I reported they were weak, peaceful. No threat to the galactic order. I was wrong about everything. The humans did not want war. They wanted to farm and build and raise their children in peace. But when the Kryn Empire attacked them, when we tried to enslave them, they showed us what they really were. They were not weak. They were patient. They were not peaceful. They were careful. They did not lack military strength. They simply chose not to use it, unless forced. When forced, they became the most efficient warriors the galaxy has ever seen. They did not fight to win battles. They fought to end threats. They did not conquer. They destroyed. They dismantled an 8,000-year-old empire in 11 months. But the cost was terrible. For the Kryn who died, for the humans who had to kill them, for everyone who lived through it. I saw humans unleash their wrath and ruin everything I knew. The Kryn Empire is gone. The galaxy is changed. Humanity proved they could destroy anything that threatened them. Now they must prove they can live in peace. That they can be the species they wanted to be before we forced them to change. I hope they succeed. Because if they fail, if humanity becomes what the Kryn were, then we learned nothing from all this death, all this pain. The galaxy will never underestimate humanity again. But, more importantly, no species will ever again think they can attack peaceful people without consequences. That is the lesson. That is what the Kryn Empire died to teach us. I hope we remember it. For all our sakes. Veliris finished writing and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity rebuilt their lives, tried to forget the war, tried to remember who they were before, and Veliris hoped they succeeded, because the galaxy needed those peaceful farmers and teachers more than it needed warriors, even warriors as terrifyingly effective as humans had proven to be.